It's an 8 out of 10. It's decent. It's good, right?
Guys, I've been trying to convince him to go to the doctors because he's sick in the head. He needs to find a cure.
No.
What makes it so funny is that you're talking about attention span. I've been trying to record this episode for the past 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and we're gonna talk about attention span today.
Okay.
You see how it correlates?
Okay. Before an episode, by the way, guys, what we do is we basically talk for 30 minutes, wondering what we're going to talk about. Because normally, a podcast will do it once a week. We said, nah, that's boring, or it would take too long. Because making 52 weeks consistently, bro, that's hard. It's like being asked, hey, you have to go to the gym every week, but you can only go once a week. And then you skip a week. And then you're like, well, I already didn't go last week, so why am I going to go next week? And I see it so often as to why podcasts fell. So I said, me and Hypey rather, said, let's do it. I'm down. And now we're here every day. We're trying to be here every weekday.
I genuinely try to come up with the topic every day because I think it's something that there's so much to talk about. There's no way like we're going to run out of things to say. But then we're just staring at a... Right? What's up?
Yeah. So much to ramble about.
Yeah. And then sometimes our mind just goes blank and we're like, what's been bothering us?
What can I complain about, right? And today it was attention span. And I totally get us taking a while, but I don't think that's an attention span thing. If anything, the attention span issue is, for example, when we're going to do something and instead we just start watching a video together and then we're thinking.
Okay, first of all, this man is lying to you. You don't know how many times I'm like, I'm going to start the podcast soon.
Okay.
And he's he's like, chill. I'm still in this Pokemon TCG game. Every time. I'm just like, why did you start one? And then one day I decided to start one at the same time. And he was like, you're probably going to have to concede soon. I finished my game first before he did. And he was telling me to concede. It's ridiculous. Anyways, guys, if you're listening, we're talking about attention span today. It's very hard to...
We got distracted already twice.
Yeah, it's very hard to stay on the topic attention. If you've seen the previous podcast episodes, you'd understand exactly what I'm talking about. Why is it happening? A lot of studies show, raise his finger, that it's because of like TikTok, Reels, and Shorts.
Yeah.
You know, with such a short concept of media just going through, it's so easy for you to be like, oh, that was cool. I want another one of those. And then you just keep going and you're like, dude, scrolling forever. So then when you translate it to like a movie or a series, you kind of like lose interest like that quickly.
Yeah. Admittedly, I've been consuming more long form YouTube recently than I have been consuming Netflix or anything really. Recently, I wanted to watch a little bit more anime, but I'm being more selective on it. And I think it is an association to the attention span. And even people, what was interesting is even my dad was telling me I don't have the patience anymore to watch a full movie, that I'll just watch the clips of the movie on Facebook or TikTok. And I thought that was insane because I'm just thinking, why not just watch the movie? But it's a more digestible format. So I don't know if you've even seen, movies are dying so much that there's an app, I think it's a Chinese app, that shows you movies or shows in a vertical format. So instead of horizontal, it's in a vertical format. And it's like, here is 30 seconds to a minute and 30 seconds of an episode. And they just film it in that format. And you just keep swiping for the next episode, for the next episode, for the next episode. And it is insane how many views these things are getting. Millions, bro. Millions.
I need you guys to know, you probably heard that and were thinking, who watches those. I do. I'm so sorry. I don't know how I get so invested. And the stories are like, when I really zoom out, I
Yeah.
can't believe I'm watching this. Right?
Is it trash TV? Basically,
It basically is, or it's like
Yeah.
a plot twist at the end of every video, so you can watch the next one. But it's insane. They get me every time. Every now when I see that it's correlated to the app, forget what the app's called.
It's
But
so one of them is called Drama Box.
it's Drama
I
Box.
will say a lot of them are obviously intended for women because I was really curious and I went ahead and clicked on it to make sure that you like and subscribe on this video because if you did, we appreciate you so much. And if you're listening on Spotify, all I ask is that you follow the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to go listen for the rest on Spotify, you can do that or the rest on YouTube from Spotify. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What
Your turn,
were
Hypey.
what were you talking about? Oh,
Yeah.
subscribe.
So when I clicked on it, subscribe. When I clicked on it, the app is called Drama Box. Again, it's
Yeah.
basically a movie or shows or series in a vertical format. And
Right.
what's crazy is that I think I was listening to someone or a director or producer that was making these shows saying that about 80 to 90% of the audience is female.
Oh,
So
that's
that's why
interesting.
a lot of these shows they're being made super drama heavy kind of thing for that because of that. There's not a lot of action, mystery. I wouldn't even know what as a dude I'm supposed to be watching. Sci-fi, mystery, sci-fi,
Sure.
fantasy.
If you're
I
interested.
guess.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. I'm trying to think of like what as a bro I watch compared to other people.
Yeah, you're a real freak with those categories for sure. I'm sorry. Okay.
How dare you? Okay.
Something that's interesting is that I feel like media has to account for this, right? Because I just realized at the beginning of this episode that I used to watch anime. I liked watching it. I haven't really seen new shows. There is a correlation when I started doom scrolling and stopped watching anime. Maybe
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, right? Where long form content feels less digestible because if you watch a lot of reels, TikToks, or YouTube shorts, you sit there and think, I'm bored. And you can only assume how it is for the kids that are growing up with this medium, in this medium, and just thinking, I don't want to study. I don't want to learn. So it must be even harder. You can train yourself out of it. And it's really comedic that I saw an Instagram reel where someone legit sat in front of their laptop for an hour without doing anything, without meditating, which everybody in the comments like to say, why aren't you meditating? You're just wasting time. But that's the idea, to be bored. How can you be bored for an hour? And it's very tricky.
Yeah. You made a great point about people being raised with the attention spans so quick.
Yeah.
If you watched a movie and you paid for the movie, you're sitting there, there might be a time where you're like, I don't enjoy this. I kind of just want to go.
Wait, has that happened to you?
Me personally, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe when I was younger.
I don't think it's happened to me necessarily.
But the
You already
reason
paid for it. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, the reason I'm bringing it up is because think about how easy it is for you watching a YouTube video. You're like 20 minutes in and you're like, actually, I hate this video. I'm going to go watch the Idle Screens podcast instead. And
Reference, by the way, Hypey, if he watches over 2 minutes of a video and he's invested, he's a completionist. So
it might be true.
Hypey,
Okay.
No one does that. I want you. Okay, actually, some people do that, but I'm telling you, most people do that.
The thing is, it's hard for me to get invested into a video.
Okay.
So think about it this way. I'm going to eat food. I got to have my YouTube video because be for real, right? Got to have your food.
For real. Yeah, so for real.
What am I going to do? Look for a new video. I'm not really interested in most of these. I have one that I didn't finish. Let me go back to that one.
Okay, well, but that's different. I'm talking about when you start a video, you generally will watch the whole thing in one sitting. You won't click away from it if you've invested more than 5 minutes into it, right?
I'll have it open as a tab for later.
Oh, which is like what everybody else does.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's a video that I want to watch right then and there, or if I'm eating and I just want something for
Yeah.
the next 10 minutes, I put it on 2.5 speed. It's over because in my head,
Completionist.
yeah, in my head I do the math and I'm like, okay, it's a 30-minute video. If
There's
I put
30
2 times
minutes
speed,
left. Yeah,
it's 15
literally.
minutes. It's easy. But
Yeah.
I want to digest media so bad that I'm speeding it up. That's a crazy thought.
Okay, my attention span, I think I acknowledged that it was being ruined when I started watching more and more content in 2x speed or 1.5 speed. It's just I can't. I just want to get to the point. And sometimes my issue with a lot of videos and a lot of long is that it's very obviously a presentation. So I've been a teacher, right? And in a lecture, you know what the student doesn't understand or the reasoning. They wouldn't understand this for this reason of why, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So in the beginning of every lecture, this is how most long form videos do it now when they're explaining something. The past. Why the past is important. The answer. So you're watching basically 2/3 or sometimes even 3/4 of a video just for context. And it bothers me, by the way. I understand the context, and I understand that if you're an outsider coming into this video, you need that context, right? But I think it gets bothering when every time you click on a video that is in a topic that you're interested in or you've already invested a lot of time into, and they keep explaining the same thing. So you're just thinking, oh, what a drag. Or the context is completely irrelevant. So let's say I was watching a video talking about the economics of this car company.
Okay.
And then they go back and tell you when the car company was founded, who founded it, what the purpose was of founding it. And then at the end of the video, they talk about the economics of the current car market.
You ever see those shorts that the question is like, should you do this? And in the whole video, they don't even answer the question.
Yes, and I think I don't have a lot of those in my algorithm though. I think it's because I avoid those really easily.
Yeah.
It doesn't bait me. It doesn't bait me to watch the whole thing. Don't keep scrolling. And I think I don't even know if they're popular anymore because I personally just don't see them in my feed anymore.
I
Personally,
hadn't seen them in a while, but I did see one like 2 days ago maybe, and I was like, I hate you. Give me the
yeah, I think
answer.
the meta. When I say meta, you see, and then I do it myself for context because I have it a lot of context. But I already forgot what I was talking about. My attention span is gone.
You know,
Sometimes, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when I was growing up, it was very common that people were saying, or maybe there was a study about it that makes more sense. There was a study about how SpongeBob, the show, would
Okay.
give people ADHD.
That's so true. Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, it's one of those things where my whole family watched it growing up. We all have ADHD. I can't fight those statistics. 3 out of 3. You know what I mean? But
It's okay for ADHD and for autism. It's also tricky because how much we tested for it is so much more than before. For example, my dad has ADD, and then I wasn't even tested for ADHD, but I mean, I acknowledged that I was more hyperactive than my friends or than other people, but I was never labeled.
yeah,
As an example, because when I was growing up, I'm 29 by the way, but I don't even just 15 years ago, the amount of testing was a lot less than what it is today for autism and ADHD. But at the same time, people, future sponsor BetterHelp. The reason it's also more frequently tested is because they want to also sell medication. So if you're diagnosed with ADHD or any mental disorder, they can now sell you medication. And that's why I'm not a big proponent of online therapy, even though I understand the reasoning for it.
Right.
Sure. I simply wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend in-person therapy simply because online therapy has been accused of intentionally recommending medication when it wasn't necessarily needed. And there's cases against them for it right now.
That's kind of crazy.
Wait, you didn't know this, right?
No. Oh,
My bad.
well, it's so funny. I thought you were going a totally different way with that conversation.
Okay.
I was going to say, if I'm doing something online, let's say Innovate and I are going to watch a show on Discord.
And we sit down.
Right? We're sitting down, we're watching. I'm going to look at the screen half of the time. I'll probably look at my other monitor, scroll Twitter or something. And if we did this in person, I think I'd look at the screen 98% of the time. I wouldn't even think about picking up my phone. So I thought you were going to say with therapy, like something similar to that aspect, but to hear that they're just falsifying prescriptions is crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a friend that did play League of Legends while he was in online therapy.
Oh, see, like that makes sense. Like,
and then the therapist is getting paid anyways.
Yeah.
And it's really comedic because even the therapist would say, this is part of your avoidant personality, where instead of talking about it, you're kind of just playing games, or It's really comedic to me.
And his response was
would
like,
I go to therapy? Would you go to therapy?
I kind of should. I kind of have to. I'll go there soon, guys. Give me like a week. Well, what's the problem with going to therapy?
No, I'm just.
Oh, sorry.
I never said it was. I literally told you yes, it was good, and then you're like, "What? Are you arguing with me?"
I replayed the conversation very wrong. Anyways, yeah, I would. I think it's important. It's helpful, especially if you don't really talk about your emotions that much. Would you? Would you go to therapy?
I think if I felt very defeated, I don't really feel defeated. I think I depend a lot on my friends, not as therapists, right? But just someone to lean on. I think therapy, this isn't me shitting on people, right? But I think therapy is very helpful when you feel that no one really understands.
Mm-hmm.
And a therapist has a lot of strategies or things that they can do to empathize with you or sympathize with you, depending on their situation. But that's also why sometimes, therapists are still people. So sometimes you'll hear someone say that I went to therapy and it sucked. But it could be a situation where the therapist didn't understand your situation to be able to relate to you or to give you ideas as to how to work with the problem, right? So as an example, a single mom with 3 kids is going to need a different therapist than a banker that is stressing out about losing a saving, as an example, right? Two different people.
Yeah.
Right? Even if the banker's a woman and they're both females, right? They still have different problems, right? As to what they're like, what the issues are in their lives. But that's also why some therapists specialize. So they'll specialize in certain types of relationships or certain types of issues that people might be having.
That's why I was going to mention that I've heard it from my friends in the past who have gone to therapy where they're like, you kind of have to find the right therapist for you. So it does track, especially if there's like specializations.
Yeah.
I feel like if they're very well done in one category, then you might even know something that you wouldn't have heard from your friends or something like that.
Yeah, there's children therapists, there's marriage therapist, there's individual therapists, right? And then there's also therapists that only take male or take female customers. As an example, it sounds weird saying that you're a customer, but you're paying them.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
It's tricky.
We're talking about attention span.
And that is exactly the point of attention span, am I right? Or how about this? I think How do we increase our attention span if we've made it this way? Is there a way we can backtrack?
You have to, if you wanted, okay. In association to therapy, so we can get back on top. I think therapy would be helpful if you believe your attention span is really, really bad to the extent that you always need something or you feel very frustrated mentally. I think therapy might be able to help you out, but I wouldn't be the outlet for it, I would say. You got to train yourself. I think a lot of times it's kind of like going to the gym, right? So if you go to the gym, you can get a trainer, but it's not necessary to get a trainer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not... In association therapy, attention span, you got to bore yourself, and I think a lot of people don't like being bored.
That sucks. Because, well, I mean, for example, I want to spend time doing something. Growing up, it was very obvious when I started like not enjoying movies just because of how long it was. And everyone always makes the same argument like, yeah, but you'll watch like 3 hours of anime in the same spot. But
I get headaches from watching too much TV, but I never get headaches from playing video games. And I usually prop it to the idea that when I'm playing a video game, I'm actively thinking. But when you're watching TV, I turn off my brain personally. But I think it's because I will enjoy something more if I'm not constantly thinking of why it sucks. And I think a lot of people do that to themselves, and I get very confused. I was playing the new game Dispatch, and I thought it was so interesting when I was reading comments and people said, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. And in my head, I'm thinking, I mean, it's not hard to predict it, but it's one of those things that if you're constantly thinking of how the movie or the show is going to end, you kind of ruin the fun, right? To some extent, you go watch a superhero movie, you know everybody's going to end up happy, but think about how they're going to end up happy in the whole process, you're just ruining the movie for yourself. And that's what attention span, I think, also suffers, right? Because if you constantly ruin things for yourself because you're constantly thinking of how it's going to end or what the process is going to be, you're bored as shit.
You watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I've seen the whole
So, you know how in the first episode where like, Walt, it's cancer.
Yeah.
I genuinely forgot that he was eventually going to die by the end of the show. I was like, how's he going to get out of this one? But like the whole time throughout the show, even when they said like the cancer looks good, you know, they'll bring it back to reality where they're like, yeah, it came back, right?
Yeah.
Do you hate that in shows or movies where they just kind of say like what's going to happen at the beginning? For example, another one is like My Hero, Deku
in Breaking Bad, it's in the beginning they say that he dies?
No. He's gonna die. Like he has cancer. They're like, but they mention how.
Wait, I'm trying to think back, and I don't remember them saying your death is inevitable today. Or
they just mentioned that it's terminal. And like the whole time through throughout the first season, they're like, you don't have that much time left, which is why it's the whole reason why he even does the whole meth thing.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the little meth, by the way. Nothing wrong. If you have cancer, and if it's fiction.
Do you think Walter White? What do you think if you were to describe him in one word? What would you describe Walter White as?
Bald.
Bald?
Yeah, he was evil.
Evil.
It's hard to describe that character in one word.
I would say pride is his biggest attribute, isn't it? Where he could have stopped, and he just had so much pride, or he greed to some extent.
Literally that one line he says.
Oh, remember. Wait, go ahead.
That one line he says where he was like, I did it for me. I was good at it. He's like, I liked it. Like at the very end where he's admitting it to Skyler.
Remember when his rich friends come back from their work or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, hey, we can give you a job at the company and you can get free insurance. We're not going to we wouldn't even charge you, and we take care of all the cancer treatments and stuff like that. And he hated it.
Yeah,
I thought it was so.
He was mad.
He didn't want to be pitied, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was so ridiculous, but I think it was oddly rational. I think it was written really well where it made that he would say that even if it felt ridiculous.
Right.
Does that make sense?
A little bit.
You weren't a fan of it. You hated it.
Yeah. Kind of upset you brought it up anyways. I was trying to say earlier, like, do you hate when series do that though, when they mention at the very start what's gonna happen? The other one that came to mind was My Hero.
Let's think about My Hero. My Hero Academia has a story where at the beginning of the show it says, "This is a story of how I became the greatest hero ever." Right?
Yeah. Legit. And
that's the first line I think of the show.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where again, you're kind of expecting it. Like if you're reading a shonen or you're watching a shonen, you're expecting the main character to reach his goals at the end. Last thing I'm going to do is follow someone who's not going to reach their goals, right? But to just straight out be like, "Hey, this is how it's going to be.
This is how it's going to end."
Yeah.
I think it varies, right? Do I like it?
For example, if Luffy said in One Piece, "This is how I became the Pirate King," then I'm like, "Oh, I know he's going to be Pirate King."
It ruins the ambiguous possible ending.
Yeah, because right now, even for the series, there's theories about certain things that are going to happen, but it's not essentially just him being the Pirate King, right?
Yeah.
But if they had mentioned that at the beginning, I'd be like, well, we know he's going to get there. So first of all, he's not dying here.
Yeah.
And, stuff like that.
So, like Naruto becoming the Hokage wasn't necessarily stated, but you wanted it to happen.
Yeah, right. And like he didn't say this is how I became Hokage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of root for the guy because at first you're like, is this even possible?
Yeah.
And then soon you're like, wait, I can see it. And you start becoming like a believer and it gets more exciting that way. At least that's how I see it.
In reference to One Piece, I watched One Piece in 2x speed and sometimes at 3x speed for the attention span thing.
I hate you.
It is such a okay. If anyone's ever watched One Piece, bro, the filler is the pacing, bro. The filler is the pacing.
You're sick in the head.
It's an 8 out of 10, bro. I'm sorry. It's an 8 out of 10. It's decent. It's good, right?
Guys, I've been trying to convince him to go to the doctors because he's sick in the head. He needs to find a cure.
No. Attention span is chill, bro.
Well, actually,
attention span is fine.
I
watched One Piece.
Going back to attention span, I remember judging my friend, Jerry, who watched JoJo's Part 3, and anytime there wasn't a fight, he just cut through it. Like he didn't even speed through it. He just cut to the next fight, essentially, or like the continuation.
I think it's funny though in JoJo's because in JoJo's, I mean, they really talk about the whole thing that happened before that moment so they recap you anyways during the fight.
Yeah, specifically, it was the scene where they'd start updating Suzy Q with what's been happening. I think it's like Speedwagon and oh wait, no, is he dead by then?
It's so long ago, bro.
Yeah, the point is, at the time I couldn't believe he was skipping it. Now I guess I could give him some leeway because I feel like that's how people are consuming like media. I feel like if you looked at percentages from 10 years ago to now, like how often did you finish?
Rate. Yeah, completion rate.
It has to be insanely down. Like it must have dropped drastically.
Yeah, and I think that's why we went from having anime seasons that would go for 24 episodes season 1, and if it did well, they would. Now Netflix and anime will release 8 to 12 episodes for season 1, and then everything else can after that. So season 2 will be 24 episodes, right? As an example. But I agree. I think it's crazy that the amount of time that is being willingly allowed to these first seasons is a lot smaller because if they won't even finish 12 episodes, the odds of them finishing or continuing is just really low. And I think that's the reason a lot of shows get canceled on Netflix because if you didn't watch past the first episode, bro, making a season 2 is such a waste of time, realistically.
Yeah,
The percentage wise of people that keep watching to the next episode kind of just dwindles like 2 or 3% every single time. Just kind of like woo,
dude.
woo.
When a season drops on Netflix, people are like, "Yeah, I finished everything in the first 3 days." And if you don't hear them do that in the first week, they're never gonna watch the series. It feels that
Canceled.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
canceled. Easy.
So, for example, the last series I remember that everyone was really excited for was Squid Games.
Okay.
Like, when they had the third season for the original series, I
I did not watch
remember.
the third season. Or actually, I did. Never mind. I did.
Why would you lie to me?
Really?
Why would
Wait,
you do that to me?
Squid Games. What season are they in right now?
So season 3 was the last season. However, you are making a face that makes me think you're seeing the American Squid Games.
No,
Okay.
the Korean Squid Games. Did season 3 already come out?
Season 3 came out in July or June.
Wasn't it season 2?
Season 2 came out around a year ago by right now, like a year to
Holy
this
shit!
day.
It came out. What the hell? I did not finish it,
You're sick in the head.
dude.
Go to the
That was
doctor.
a month ago. What? No way. Did I not watch?
Anyways, going to what I was saying about the show,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where people binged all of that in the first 3 days. I couldn't see myself doing that, but I did it to avoid spoilers. However, if you heard anyone, case being Innovate right here, if they didn't watch it in the first week, it just left their radar. They're not going to watch it.
No one talked about it, so I'm good.
See, that's crazy because everyone talked about it in my circle. It all depends on your algorithm.
Your algorithm and your friend group, right? Basically,
Your friends were watching Squid Games. They just saw season 2 and then they stopped.
they did not. They did not even talk about it, bro.
But they talked about season 2.
No, I think I watched it out of my own volition.
You're crazy. That's okay. I'm not gonna judge it for that. You don't have to watch Squid Games, guys. I just like bullying Innovate. But you know what you have to do? Watch all of our episodes. Yes, sir. Binge those.
All right, chat. I'm done. Call it.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna call it, but I don't know if you still want to talk. Final thoughts?
You just gotta say chat. Anytime we say that means we're done.
You have final thoughts? Sit back
Final
down.
thoughts? I think when it comes to attention span, you can be satisfied. Well, it's harder to be satisfied rather than it was before, but it just depends on what you're happy with. If you don't like having a short attention span, you have to train yourself out of it by being bored. If you're okay having a short attention span, then it doesn't matter. Realistically, it doesn't matter. If it's impacting your life negatively, I would do something about it. But if it's not affecting your life negatively, it's whatever. It doesn't matter. That's how I always interpret life. If it's an issue, fix it. If it's not an issue, if it's an issue that you are okay with or satisfied with, I wouldn't give a shit.
It's probably an issue for me, guys, but we could just keep doom scrolling. That's okay. We'll watch the silly little videos.
Oh, do you like those ads where they have to do they're shooting through the lane, and if they shoot it and it goes plus one, bullet.
I can't reach purple. Like,
yeah, it's really funny, and I stay watching it, and I watch them so much, and I just think that's cool. But then obviously at the end of every single ad, it fails. The obvious thing that was super doable to do to bait you to click on the video and play the game. I've tried those games and they just run you with ads, so I just never give a shit. I just enjoy it through the ad. I'm like, that's cool.
You ever think about how those ads, the reason why we keep watching them is because we want to see them win?
Yeah.
Which is kind of pointing to like what we were saying earlier with like superheroes, we know everyone's going to be happy at the end kind of deal. Or like, we're getting the good ending. And in these ads, we're like, we know he's going to fail, but maybe he succeeds this time. And you know what? I live for that thrill because sometimes they do survive. And I'm excited for it.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
I'm like,
all right, chat.
pass the sticks.
Call
All
it.
right.
Whoa!
You have a.
Why'd you say it like that? Why'd you say it like
Never
that?
mind, dude. I'm not gonna start with this guy.
Oh!
All right, guys. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. Comment in the video your ideas of a future topic. Let us know. Until next time. You gonna wave? Okay, there you go.